What's going on, everybody? Thank you for being here. It's 8 p.m. on the East Coast on a Tuesday night. That means it's time for Proper Royals Live. We got Jeremy and Jeannie Baud tonight, the people behind Baud's Exotic Reptiles. They've been on the show, I was going to say several times, but I think maybe only once or twice. I looked back and I didn't write it down, but it's been almost a year since they were on the show. I think Jeremy maybe did like a hangout on like over the holiday kind of hangouts that I do sometimes. But anyway, I'm really glad to have them back. And what better guests than the community theme? And, you know, I'm pretty positive usually on my broadcasts and in general in life. Like, I don't think the complaining really gets us anywhere. But what great people to have when it comes to talking about community and relationships. And I got to tell you, like, maybe it's just because I'm putting myself more and more out there and my reach is growing farther and farther and I'm doing more shows, et cetera, et cetera. But our community, man, is difficult sometimes, man. I've run into some real like challenges lately, both in person and in like this. You wouldn't believe the silly politics of this podcast world, which is dumb. Like, I can't even believe it. Like, I just want to hang out and talk snakes with people, and there's literally politics of like who's kissing whose ring and you know what old timer we bow down to and all. I just don't have the patience for it. It's a little bit tough. So we're going to cover all that. I promise I'm not going to spend tonight complaining. Plus, like, Jeremy and Jeannie, you can't complain with them. They're great people and we're going to have a great time. So it was like a real relief. I was just telling them backstage, like a real relief where I was like looking at the calendar with everything I'm sort of feel like I'm dealing with. None of it's really that big of a deal, but I'm really excited to have them tonight. If you don't know them, stick around. You get to meet them. We're not going to do the backstory and how'd you get into reptiles and all that. If you don't know that about Jeremy and Jeannie, no problem. Check out one of my earlier episodes. Just search Bauds and Proper Royals. You'll find them. And they've been on a lot of podcasts. So we're going to dive in on these community relationships, mentors, and then they're off to Tinley. Like, we're going to find out, but I'm guessing that they're leaving Thursday, maybe Friday. Anyway, they'll be at Tinley this weekend as well. So a lot to cover tonight. Plus, they're good old friends, and I can just talk forever with them. So we're going to have a full show tonight. I promise you. We've got 25 people here out of the gate. Thank you all so much for being here. Hey, Dale, speaking of the good guys and good communities, Dale, thanks so much for being here. Dale was kind enough, the next Jacksonville show in May, I'll be vending my animals, but at one of the adjacent tables to Dale. He's a good guy looking out for me, and that's just such a awesome thing. So it was cool to hang out with Dale this weekend in Jacksonville at the Repticon show. Who else we got out there? There's all kinds of you. What's up, Stephen and Courtney? It's nice to see y'all. Speaking of friends of the show, for sure. Off-season Reptiles. I don't know if I've seen you before. Welcome. Glad to have you. I don't do a whole lot of shout-outs and all that. What's up, BNS Reptilia? Chris, thank you as always, guys. Chris is one of the sponsors of the show. This week, the logo is the Chipper, but Chris is the Pennsylvania distributor for the Chipper, but he also has his own full reptile endeavors, many animals, breeds, many different types of snakes, and Reptilia, hence the name BNS Reptilia. Check out Chris. His links are down below in the description as well. What's up, Casey? Casey picked up an animal from me this weekend. I hope he's doing well. I hope he got back home. And so there. Welcome. Glad to have everybody. And Marshall, you're off to Tinley as well. Man, I wish I was there. I gotta get in one of these caravans heading north one of these times to Tinley. Free driver, just you just gotta put me up. Let me crash on the floor in the hotel room. I'll tag along otherwise. Announcements this week. The 24/7 experiment is live. Guys, check this out. If you haven't seen it, I'm going to share my screen. This is on not my regular YouTube channel, but I started another YouTube channel. And I'll put the link in right now. Matter of fact, here you go. Don't run away too fast, because we want to keep the algorithm gods happy. But check this out. Let me share the screen with you. And you can check this out. It's a 24/7 live stream of my facility. Man, who's more transparent than that? How cool is that? That's me. Now there's a lag. Hang on. You're about to see me bop around and start pointing. Matter of fact, I'll get up. You'll see it on the screen. There's a lag there, and there's a lag on the broadcast. There we go. Now you see the movement, and I'm about to jump up. Yeah, there it is. So you could see me. Now I'm on the camera back here by the sink. And then over in the snake room there. And you can see it all happening live. And so my goal is leaving that live for everybody to check out. It's free right now on YouTube, but that will become the Patreon content. And the Patreon tiers are live right now as well. The entry level tiers, it's $7 a month. You get that, and you get first access to the animals. That's called the spectator tier. And then the investor tier it's $35 a month, but all of that builds a bank. I don't charge you any of the fees. There's no waiting period. So if you know that you're interested in some of the projects that I'm working on and you want first dibs on the animals, you're going to get first dibs in order of who signed up. And then you're building your bank it's $35 a month. So it's a great way to support Proper Royals. It helps with my cash flow. Basically, you're paying for the animal before you get it or before it comes. And then my cost of doing business is the fees on Patreon. So you can check it out. And I will be adding more cameras, like Bluetooth cameras that I don't need to run wires for. So I could put them right in the eggs. I could put them in the in the hatchling boxes. I could put them in one of my big females tubs on feeding night. So there's all sorts of neat opportunities on the 24/7 live stream. Plus, it's just a neat thing. Like I love asking myself, what can I do that nobody else is doing? And I think this is one of those things. So check it out. Let me know what you all think. It is totally free for right now. And I'm working out the kinks. I don't know. Sometime in the past 8 hours, YouTube kicked me off or I lost connection. So I don't know. Like I said, I'm working out some kinks. I'm working out how to improve the lighting. It's very dim right now, but I have show lighting on. If I were to turn on the lights, I'll show you. Probably will blind you. Here it comes. Wait a minute. Like I say, there's a lag. All right, there. Here come the lights. And now it adjusts. Now you could, on the live stream, you'd see everything very, very clearly. We'll go back to show lights, though. Anyhow, check it out on the link, the description down below, too, if you're watching on a replay and don't see the comments or whatever. There you go. I'll stop sharing that because I'm excited. I could talk about it all night. But check it out, man. That's gonna be a fun thing, and that's gonna evolve. Like the creative opportunities on it are pretty endless. I don't have any sound on it right now because this is my office space as well, so I need to keep that private. But I could turn on the sound and do like the egg cuttings on there, or tomorrow morning's going to be the pairings, and we could talk about that live, et cetera, et cetera. We got a whole live show to do right now, but I thought it was a cool thing. So let me know what you guys think. And hey, if you want to start supporting me right away on Patreon, I would be honored and thankful. It's a lot of work to put all this on, and that was a bit of an investment too. Not a huge amount. On the other hand, more than a month's worth of rats for sure. So anyhow, enough of that. There's the Patreon plug. Hey, the email list of my current inventory that I have available will go out on Thursday. If you want to receive that, just email me at properroyals@gmail.com. If you don't remember that, or you don't want to write it down or type it, that link is in the LinkTree link down below in the description as well. And I send out my inventory list, and it's usually a little more aggressively priced, as in better value deals for you than my Morph Market page. So that's going to go out on Thursday this week in 2 days. The Jacksonville Repticon show. So my second show in smaller markets in as many weeks. I was in Lakeland last weekend, and then 2 weekends ago, Jacksonville this very past weekend. Another dud for me. I think I'm not going to name names. I'm not going to get into other people's business endeavors. But two other breeders I talked to had what I would have considered very, very good shows. They had a whole lot more travel and speaking of a whole lot more stock and work that went into it. So I think pretty good for them. Myself, I didn't, at the end of the day, I mean, cash is what talks, right? So I really didn't do very well at those shows at all. What I did enjoy was being in my own local market here in Jacksonville and feeling like I was in the game. In Lakeland, there was next to no traffic and I wasn't in my own market. Lakeland was just a dud of a show for me. Jacksonville, I felt like the foot traffic was better than Lakeland. And again, I was interacting in my own market and building my own presence in my own market. I feel fine about doing that work. So that's how I feel right now. Time will tell if those are correct feelings or if I'm just feeding myself lies to pep myself up after the hard work. It's a lot of work doing those shows. That's what I'm seeing out there. We'll talk with some of the other breeders. Let me know what you guys are thinking as far as what the market is. For myself, I also have to remember the first 7 weeks of this year and the last month of last year were really booming for me. I've been averaging the first 7 weeks of the year. I averaged 2 animals a week. And my sales average right now is around 400 animals. So, I mean, that was a banging time for me. But the past 3 weeks have just fallen out like as in next to nothing. So it's a little bit tough right now. I talked to some breeders that said, well, all my entry level stuff is sold out and nobody's buying the expensive stuff. And then I'm talking to other breeders who go, yeah, my expensive stuff is selling and, nobody's buying the pet grade stuff. I got to get out there, do the work, show up, and hope that good things happen. Hey, it's also Paddy's Day week. St. Patrick's Day is on Friday. First off, be safe. Those of y'all going to Tinley, man, you could go to Chicago, see the Green River, blah, blah, blah. You couldn't do it all. And, well, if you didn't sleep, but then you don't want to be putting those chemicals in your body not to sleep, right? But it's Paddy's Day. If you are in Florida, in North Florida, in Jacksonville, I will be playing at the Stout Snug on Thursday night, a St. Paddy's Day Eve kickoff, 9 p.m. till midnight. Myself as a trio, I'll have a fiddle and a mandolin player with me, and we'll be tearing up the Stout Snug Irish Pub here in Jacksonville. And then Friday, we head down to Punta Gorda for the Celtic Ray Bash. They block off the streets, big stage in the streets, sound man, all that good stuff. And I'm really looking forward to that show. It's going to be a blast. We'll be on a pretty sweet slot too, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Man, that's going to be a killer party, fun. And right before the headliners that night, a band called Victims of Circumstance will be on after us. And then the following day at 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the afternoon at the Celtic Ray in Punta Gorda. I hope to see you all out there. All right, on to our show. There's 53 of you. Thank you all very much. Jeremy and Jeannie bring all their what's that ad? The song with the Uber ad now. Their milkshake brings all the people to the yard right here. You all know Jeremy and Jeannie. Please welcome back to the Proper Royals stage, my friends, Jeannie and Jeremy Baud. What's going on? How are y'all tonight?
Hi. Milkshakes for everybody.
Everybody gets milkshakes around here, baby.
How's it going, man? How you doing?
I'm good. It's a weird time out there, and I'm real happy. Like, this show truly is like therapy for me, especially when you all are here. But whether you're here or not, like, I look forward to the show. But it's been kind of crazy. Like, I'd heard that, there's underhanded and backstabbing people in our community. I hadn't really run into them. And it just feels like the last 2 weeks, it's just like they're everywhere, man. They're coming out of the woodwork. Even today, I went through some drama with, I should say on that note, next week's guest, that scheduling has changed. I'm not going to name any names and throw anybody under the bus, but that just blew up out of nowhere today. Thank God I checked. So in their place, I have a newcomer named Chakra Scales. They are chicken breeders that have just gotten into ball pythons and doing great stuff up there in Minnesota. And they have a killer social media presence. Chakra Scales will be the guest next week. So
that's like a line, man. He was a chicken breeder too.
Was he?
Yeah.
I didn't even cover that. That guy's done everything. He was a pawn shop owner. He was a real estate mogul, chicken breeder.
It was either him or his parents that he was talking about it. I thought it was one of the podcasts he was on. But
I remember he said
about all the different morphs and stuff like that, and types of chickens and all that, you know. So
there's a whole scene for that. There's a lady in Palm Coast that I sold some Ultramels to, and she was like super aggressive getting into ball pythons, and she's like, "Yeah, this is all chicken money. I'm the chicken queen around here, and now I'm going to get into ball pythons." And I was like, "Cool, all right, I like it."
Hey, can I give a quick shout out to somebody I've never been able to do it before on a live that I don't think you've seen me on a live? My brother Dominic, he's going to be the green lowercase d early on in here. I think he's still watching now. But yeah, he's up in Philly. He moved up there like 20 some odd years ago, and I only get to see him every couple years, but he's in the audience, so I like to just give him a shout out. Thanks for stopping in, Dom.
Cheers, Dominic. I'm glad to, it's so cool to like, again, with community and friends, like the people that I trust, like you all, and then you're like, can I shout somebody out? I'm like, absolutely. I don't have to worry about it. And then there's other people. I'm like, I don't know who they're going to say. Like, maybe here go my sponsors, I don't know.
Oh my goodness.
Oh man, speaking of, Antoine knows that stuff. What's up, Antoine? 2 weeks in a row coming by. I appreciate it. I'm glad you got your channel back, brother. I got to learn the tricks to that, because Lord knows one of these days they're going to jack mine, but yeah. Everybody's apparently. So what do you guys want to talk about first? Let's save Tinley. Let's stick with the thumbnails. We got to give people what they clicked on the thumbnail for, especially the replay. So Jeremy, you were one of the first people that like there were plenty of people that were nice to me, but you were one of the first people that like really I felt like kind of connected with me or took the time to connect with me. And I don't really know why. And I'm not like here to like put you on the spot, be like, why did you like me? I don't need like the hugs and the reassurances, but like what goes into like who you connect with and who you don't, or who maybe not necessarily like who you don't, but like who are just another person kind of thing.
I don't know. I think I try to treat everybody like that, but I'm good at, I always feel like I'm good at reading people, and just in the first couple sentences, I could tell that when somebody's a good person, or, trying to jive you or anything like that. I got to make sure I watch my language on this time.
I appreciate it. Thank you, man.
I got a mouth like a sailor. So
I was just saying, you've heard me when I'm on my bourbon and stuff, but yeah, on the show, we got to keep it different,
Yeah. So I try to treat everybody like that, but I could just tell that, that you had a heart for this and stuff,
Thank you, man. I remember, I don't know if you remember, but I remember, because you were like the very first person that ever recognized me. Like I was in like the very first Daytona, and I didn't have my like coat on or anything. I didn't even own the coat then. I got the coat for the show, and I came by your booth, and I remember you had like your reading glasses on, and you looked over your reading glasses. You were like, "You a breeder?" And I was like, "What do I say to this dude?" I'm like, "Yeah," and you're like, "I thought so," and I like scurried off. Like that was the end of our conversation.
What was that, 3 years ago?
Oh my goodness.
That would have been 2021. It would have been 2021.
21. Okay.
Yeah.
And I probably, be honest with you, I probably had my mask on. I probably had a mask on too. I might not have. And you were like, I remember you were like, it was like a slow moment, and you were back by your banner, and you're like, "You a breeder?" And I was like,
I was going to say, I normally don't wear my reading glasses, but I do remember one of the shows I had them on for something, because I can't see up close I got to watch my language for poop. And I remember the glasses kept fogging up with the mask, so.
Oh yeah. I don't think you had your mask on. So I think it was 2021. It was mostly over and trailing off, but I had just moved from North Carolina to Florida, and I was still getting used to all the people. I'm like, man, because I lived out in the sticks in North Carolina, But anyway, and then you came on the show. I reached out to you, came on the show, And then we did the guitar deal, man, which was amazing. That was a really special thing that you invited me to be a part of that or asked me about that.
Yeah, that was cool. I just wish it would have, brought more in. I think they could have promoted it better during the auction. I think they were really pushing to get that. It was a gun that they were really pushing to get. And I think promoters that are doing the auctioneers, I guess, I think they can almost kind of control things, as far as what goes. And if they would have waited a little bit later in the day and all that. But, at the end of the day, it still brought in some money, and it helped out.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. And I think, I don't know, I don't want to speak. Eugene Bissett bought that for the people that don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually, speaking of good people, Eugene Bissett has reached out to me. Like he follows up with me. He always is like, how are you doing? What's going on? Like every now and again, he'll just shoot me a text and that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And I've talked to him about, because he called me one time about the guitar. He says, hey, tell me the details again. I know you told me, but I forgot it. He goes, I want to write these down. I want to know about it. And originally he had said he had bought it for his daughter, but then he said he had second thoughts for some reason. Not that no drama between he and his daughter. I think that maybe she didn't want it or gave it back to him or something. So I think that
the autographs on there.
What's that?
That maybe he realized the autographs on there.
Yeah. Well, I think that guitar might make a reappearance in future auctions is what is really kind of where I'm getting to. I think he wants to make it like that staff, that people buy every year and then give back. And he that's where he's trying to figure out how to make that guitar work that way is what he's talking about. Cool if he did that. So
wouldn't it be something if you ended up with it again though?
That's crazy too. Like, there's not to turn this podcast into a guitar show, but there's like certain guitar, man, I could show you. There's one that I've sold 2 times that has come back to me, and I finally was like, all right, I'm done selling that guitar, man. This one's made to be mine, and I've just like I finally. It was an expensive Gibson that didn't quite fit me just right, and you don't go altering guitars. You sell it for its full value, and then you go buy the one that fits you just right. And that one came back twice, and I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm altering this Gibson. It's mine forever. I'll never get the full value out of it because of what I did to it. And now it's perfect. And that's my number 1 electric. So I love it, man.
And there's a story too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, so tell me about, I know that, and I've actually met him a time or two. I know that you had a mentor coming up. How did that relationship come about, and talk about that a little bit? Who helped you along the way?
Mike Smith. Did you meet him? I think he reached out to you or talked to you or something in the past.
I met him at Daytona last year, actually over at Dale's table.
Okay. So yeah, it was, it's kind of a funny story. I think I might've said it before. Maybe not on I know I talked to you maybe in person before, but when I first started out, this is going on our 2017 is when we first got our, first snake for breeding and stuff. Mm-hmm. I've had them years before when I was, 28 years ago, 27 years ago,
27.
I had, snakes and lizards and stuff like that. Then we had kids, family and all that.
Right.
Started getting back into it again. And then, I ended up buying a collection. When we got back into it, our first snake was a banana ball python, like many others, and that's the first time I've seen anything other than just a brown, what they call a normal snake, So when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is crazy. It was at a pet shop, So then started looking online and seeing all these different morphs and stuff like that, starting getting around. Then I'm going to all these different reptile pet shops. Like we drove, I think one time 2 or 3 hours to go to
it was more.
Like we'd spend weekends just checking out different pet shops and checking out different things. You know what I mean? And then there's one guy that had one morph mark, Mike Smith, that's local to us.
Yeah.
Or that was. Yeah, he ended up moving a little up north and everything. We still keep in touch and stuff. So I was buying snakes on Craigslist. Like I would buy the first one was 10. It was 10 snakes in a collection. It was like $1,000, and it came with a rack and thermostat and all that stuff. And it was for 10 snakes for $1,000. It was like, man, that's a lot of money to spend on snakes. And I'm like, well, let me see. And I'm looking them over, checking out the value of all that, what I want to keep and all that. so I picked them up. I didn't know how to sex the animals or anything like that. Or yeah, I could look at them and see what genetics were just by looking online and all that kind of stuff. So, we went and did that. Then I ended up going to Mike's store several times and kind of built like a small relationship with him. So I would bring these snakes into him when I bought collections, and he would sit there and pop each one of them.
Yeah.
And verify whether they're male or female. Sometimes they'd be wrong. Sometimes they'd be misid'd. And he kind of like showed me the ropes on that. Yeah. So it became a joke because I don't know how many collections I bought back then. Like the first and second year, there's probably like 7 collections. Yeah. The biggest one was 27 snakes. I remember that. So every time I'd walk into his, he would laugh because he'd see me walking up to his door with like these 2 big tubs full of snakes, And he would almost have to shut the shop down because he knew he was going to spend a little time with me.
Oh yeah.
So he actually spent the time, and after watching him do it, he kind of showed me. Yeah, I didn't even know the pressure you would use. So I told him, I said, "Here, squeeze my hand and show me."
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So he did that. Cool. So I kind of got the feel for that. Then he taught me how to palpate and all that kind of stuff. So
fiction.
Yeah, that's the other thing. He told me palpate, and I can never get that word right. It was like, hey, I would say pulpipate or something like that. then it became a joke where we just started calling it pulp fiction. So I said, hey, man, I'm going to pulp fiction this snake. So it was like an inside joke for a little bit, But anyway, that's my mentor. And, that's how that relationship started. And now I got like several people that I talk to that I'm always learning from everybody. I've learned from you, so it's like the world is like my mentor, different experiences and stuff like that,
Yeah, I agree.
Told me before we even got on air. That's something that's new to me that,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And I agree with you. There's been, part of why I've always wanted to do this show is just the people that I can learn from and the people I could surround myself with, because 10 years ago, we couldn't do this. We couldn't do, you had to actually go to the places and physically be around people to surround yourself or work in a situation. So it's an amazing opportunity, an amazing time to learn and an ability to learn. But then there's like people above that where like you and I, we talk at least once a month and sometimes once a week kind of thing, or you'll check on me after a show. So I always really, really appreciate that. And there's a handful of guys like that, like Dale's that way, Steve Casino. I don't talk to him that often, but it's interesting. He called me in the middle of the Jacksonville show this weekend. Hey, how you doing? I'm like, I didn't know you knew I was out vending. Like, it's cool. It's cool. You never know who you reach or who you connect with. So when you were buying those collections early on, did you ever run into any crazy stories? Or like, I know you're full of stories, man. Like, would you get yourself in hot water anywhere on anything?
As far as the collections go?
Or like the deal where the deals went down, or like, did you get, hopefully not, but did you have any like horror stories with like terrible animals or diseases?
No, there was one and God, it wasn't even a large collection.
Someone was trying to get us to buy their goats when we were there.
No, that was the first one. Yeah, they were actually moving out of state. They had a U-Haul truck and everything.
I knew there was something in there. I was like, I'm gonna find it. Here it is.
Give us the goats.
They're like, just take
them. We have nothing. We can't take them with us. I'm like, I don't need any goats. I live in St. Pete. We can hear the neighbors fart. So I
can't goats, man.
But no, the only bad, I wouldn't even say it was a bad deal because I still ended up getting it. So one of the collections I got, I think it was like 11 or 12 snakes that was advertised on Craigslist. Ended up being 14 though. Oh. So one of the snakes that he had was an Exantic. It was a pastel Exantic. I didn't have any Exantic in my collection. This is early on now too. Mm-hmm. So I remember I went there and it was really shady, man. I was like getting a little nervous because it's like, oh, God, meet me at this apartment complex. And I pull in there. It's like a bad part of town. I knock on the door. Nobody answers. And I call the guy up. I'm like, hey, man, I'm at the place now. He goes, all right, we'll be there in about 10 minutes. And I'm thinking, is this even their place? What's going on here? It's an apartment complex, so there's other people there, but it's just like that area. So that kind of got me freaked out. And then they pull up, and the guys that were in the car, they were younger. They look like they were in a gang or something, you know.
Yeah.
Hey, you're the one to pick the snakes up. I'm like, yeah. He goes to the door because I thought it wasn't even a right door because the lady that answered the door didn't know who I was or anything. She said snakes. So he walks in, and the deal, you know, there was the snakes and stuff. And then he's telling me that the Exantic wasn't in the deal because I'm looking at all the animals. I'm like, well, where's the Exantic at? He goes, oh, I ended up selling that one to somebody else or whatever. I'm like, well, that's one of the reasons why I wanted this, because I didn't have the Exantic or whatever, or because I didn't have Exantic in my collection.
Yeah.
So he's I got the puppy in here.
She's
trying to get in the stuff.
She's being a pain.
So he's like, oh yeah, I actually, it's a friend of mine that wanted to keep it. I'm like, yeah. And then some of the tubs look like they were burned from the belly heat and stuff like that.
Oh, wow.
There's 2 snakes that had like really bad stuck shed, and I just didn't get a good vibe. And I think it was originally 12 snakes that was listed. Now it was 11. I didn't count them at this point, but I just assumed 11 because the Exantic wasn't there. I'm like, yeah, I kind of really wanted that. So I drove. I'm like, I'm going to pass, man. I'm sorry. Got in the car. Started driving off like 10 minutes after, not even 5 minutes or whatever. I was on the phone with you.
You called me.
Yeah, so he calls me back. Goes, hey man, if you still want that, my friend's going to bring that Exantic over if you want it, and you can have the Exantic with it. I'm like, oh. I'm like, man, I don't know, man. I kind of lost interest, you know. I said some of the tubs were burned. The tubs aren't that good, and I don't know what the rack's doing, and I'm not feeling this one, you know. And he's like, oh, well. They took like $200 or $300 off. Like, all right. I swung around and I took it. Yeah. Ended up being 14 snakes, and two of the snakes were bananas, and one of them ended up being a female banana, which I think it was like 5 years ago. It was the first year, 2017, when I had it. And female bananas were still, you know, a little pricey at that point.
Incredibly, yeah, at that time, exactly.
I say pricey. It's probably about $800. I bought snakes for $6,000 and stuff now, so $800 is. But you know what I mean. When you're first getting started, $800 is a lot of money. So. Oh
yeah, I still like remember being like, I buy Gibson guitars for these prices, not snakes, and now it's like, if it's not that price, I'm like, I'm probably not interested. That's not what I'm going for, kind of thing.
Right.
Right.
No, every collection that I did get. I didn't like the first one. I think there was probably 3 of the females I kept.
Yeah.
And I pretty much had sold the rest of the stuff and made my money back and plus more, and then got to keep the ones I wanted to keep out of there.
Right.
So every single time I did that deal, I always made my money back, kept a few animals. I didn't like the 27 snakes. I think I kept maybe 9 of those.
Yeah,
those are all like breeder females and stuff. There was some hypo stuff and some other stuff in there. Plus I had like, that's where I got my ASFs from too. He gave me a bunch of ASFs, you know, to get started that colony.
Yeah, it's funny you keep saying that number 27. The biggest collection I've bought so far was exactly 27 snakes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and the guy, it's not exactly like, it wasn't nearly as shady as you're talking about, because I actually knew the guy. When he called me initially, he was like, hey, I've got about 15 snakes that, you know, I got a promotion and we're moving. And I said, unless you're going to sell me a rack, I don't have the space for those. And they weren't that great. Like, they weren't that great snakes. And I said, unless you're going to sell the rack, I'm really not interested. But I was interested in the rack. He had a nice ARS 5040 rack. And I was like, I'm going to figure out how to get that rack from him. And the next day he calls me and he says, you know what? I talked to my wife. We'll sell all 27, everything for X price. And it was, you know, like collections are, it was pennies on the dollar. And I started, you know, immediately I made a spreadsheet. I was like, all right, I want, and the other 12 animals were primo females. For me at the time, primo, and still,
they still are. I mean, you got, did you get 2 or 3 double head ultramel clown females out of there?
Yeah, I did.
Those are nice animals, right?
Yeah, and then they're going to be ready to breed this fall. That's exactly right. And I have the mom and the dad from those pairings as well. So I got good stuff from it. But that's funny because we got there and he goes, you know what? I forgot all about telling you, Adam, you can have the whole rat operation as well. And I was like, no, you done enough. You keep that rat operation, brother. But like, you know,
I've seen you in my rat building. I understand why.
Yeah, you've seen it in person, man. Like it's fast, man. But yeah, to the right person, and you know, because people are like, you know what, and obviously there's risk that come with buying the collections, but there's opportunity if you do it right. You make sure the animals are healthy. You go through the quarantine, all that. And honestly, if I had had the space and not my allergies, like there was a ready-made operation right there for less than I see snakes selling for at shows over the weekend. You know, for like one snake. So you know, that opportunity is there. What do you see from, go ahead.
I was going to say what I've done in the past when I, you know, first started buying those collections, especially off of Craigslist and stuff, is dangerous. You were saying there are risks there. I've never had any issues as far as like bugs or illnesses or anything like that. To this day, you better find me a piece of wood. I've never had a respiratory issue.
Right.
On any of my, well, we had a bearded dragon that had one, but that was in a totally different house.
That
and it
wasn't even the issue. It was where we got it from.
Yeah, I think it was like inbred too many times. I don't know what it was, but anyways, never had any issues with any of the snakes or anything I got in the collections. Today, I wouldn't recommend doing that unless you know, like I did. When's the last time we did buy one? A friend of mine, or actually a friend of Mike, a partner of Mike, the guy we were talking about, Mike.
Yeah.
That was wild.
He was moving, and that was probably what was that last year?
It was over.
Yeah, so he was selling his collection, and it was a 5540 rack and all that stuff. And he was a friend of a friend's, so I trusted that. If it wasn't from Mike knowing him and all that, I don't think I would have done that.
But we still quarantined everything though.
Oh yeah,
they did not go into the facility at all.
Yeah.
And you all have, well, I won't speak for you, but you all, in my opinion, have a great setup for that because you have two physical separate buildings of animals that you could, or where snakes are and where snakes are not, kind of deal. So
yeah. I had my quarantine in our main house, our pool house in the back, which I call the snake house.
Yep.
That's like our breeders and the hatchlings and all that. So anything that comes in, it goes into quarantine in the main house here. It's around, that's not around any other animals, you know, except for the dogs. But
yeah, the best I have is I have my room of my breeders back there, and then this behind me is my show stock. So my show stock comes back here and doesn't go into the room, and then around the corner is a quarantine tub and thermostat and all that set up farther around the corner, and that's where the fridge is. That's where the frozen rats are, around the corner.
That's smart to do that. I can't. You've been inside my place. I do keep my show snakes on the opposite side of the room.
Yeah. In
the snake house, not next to my breeders and all that, just because I do go to shows and stuff like that. But it's smart if anybody's out there to keep your show animals away from the breeders if you can. If you have a different room, that's even better. But
yeah, and it's not perfect. I mean, like with anybody, we're only as good as the resources we have. So I mean, ideally, I guess I would, you know, keep my show stock in one of the bedrooms in the house, but we all have lives to live and families and all that. So sometimes it's not realistic. So you got to do the best with what you have. But I think just being aware of it makes a huge difference as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are you all seeing with like behaviors with customer interactions these days? Anybody, like, is it healthy out there? Is it weird out there? Like, I find it like, I was talking with somebody at the Jacksonville show, and the guy goes, man, this is crazier than the New York City subway station at 3 a.m, man. Like, and I was like, yeah, I love it, man.
I haven't noticed any change. I mean, you're always going to get some tire kickers and take more pictures and stuff like that. But I haven't had any weird. You'll get the occasional person that, hey, my snake won't eat or something like that, and you kind of walk them through how to set them up and things like that.
Or customers that call you at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
That's happened.
I had a 7 a.m. guy actually after the Lakeland show. As bad as that show was, the one guy that I sold a $72 snake to, he called me 3 times one morning at 7.
Snake.
Yeah, and he was like, not to pick on the guy, he's probably watching. He's like, man, I buy a snake and the guy's crapping on me on his show. But he was like, he calls me the next day. He's like, what kind of snake do I have? And I was like, oh no, like, I thought you said you did your homework, man. Like,
I mean, the thing is, people get excited when they see reptiles and stuff. Yeah. We've all been there.
I mean, just at the last Tampa one, I had some guy go, so what is this one? And I'm like, it's a ball python. And he's like, so what is that one? I'm like, they're all ball pythons.
All of them, yeah.
They're just different genes in them, so they look different.
Yeah, I mean, some people you just gotta, they get excited and they want to get something right there. And if they're willing to listen and learn, then that's nice. Now, if you sit there and tell them something and they don't do it and they call you, weeks later and, the same setup of what they originally had, what you told them to change or something like that, then that kind of gets a little irritating. But, people that, when we all got started, we didn't know how to do things.
That's right.
When I had my snake 28 years ago, it was in a 10-gallon tank with a screen heavy lid with books on top and a heat rock and lights and all that stuff, carpet. Yep. So,
yeah, I ended up, I did tell the guy, I texted him, I said, you're always welcome to reach out to me. I just might not respond at 7 a.m. And then he said, oh, I'm sorry. I said, hey, give me a little bit. I'll get right back to you, kind of thing. So, we still want to take care of them, but at the shows we get you, and I know you all know this. I've seen your signage. We get people that are just like, can we hold it? Can we hold snake? Can we hold these? Can we hold these? And like, I want people to experience the beauty of the animal. And I think whether they buy it from me or anybody else, getting a snake in somebody's hands is how we'll grow our industry. So I was trying to figure out how to do this because like, I can't run a petting zoo and be selling snakes very well, And so my son went to Islands of Adventure, and that ain't cheap these days. And I said, I'll pay for half of it, but you're gonna work off the rest. And so I put him to work in Lakeland and Jacksonville running the petting zoo with one of our adult males that's just chill as can be, which is great. So Charlie, every time anybody was like, can we pet it? I'm like, there you go, Charlie. You're going to enjoy those roller coasters, brother. Get out there, And so this woman comes and she's like hugging this thing and like talking like baby gibberish to the snake. And she starts kissing it. And I'm like, hey, I was like, stop. You cannot kiss the snake. She's like, is that not okay? I just really find them very lovable. And I'm like, hundreds of people have held that snake today. It's an animal that could have diseases flying around this building, and other people are going to hold it after you. I don't want your spit all over that snake. And she's like, well, we sanitize our hands. I'm like, I don't bathe the snake. Don't kiss it. And she's like, oh, but it's so, and I was like, that's it. That is it. Let go of the snake, give it back. And she was like, really? It's over? I was like, yeah, it's done. It's over. Get out. She's like, it's over? I was like, yeah, that's it. Yeah. We're out.
Wow.
Yeah.
I used to do that in the beginning, and I think it was Matt Jablowski.
Learned our lesson real fast.
I started vending shows our first year because I bought collections that were adults, and I was my first year starting to getting into getting snakes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was the first year I had clutches. Because I got some adults and stuff. And it was also the first year I started vending. And I was the guy out there holding snakes, see anybody, hey, you want to hold a snake? And we would actually count how many people that never held a snake before. And I would brag about that. Yeah, I had 5 people.
Cheryl, you kiss it, you buy it.
That's your rule. Like, I actually honey. I'm going to teach Charlie that. Well, the problem is that one wasn't for sale. Like, that's one of our breeders that's just off this year. But I love that. Like, he's like our pet boy. I'm like, no, he's not for sale. Like, I was like, that's it. You're done. Get out.
Oh my goodness, that was hilarious.
I could say so many things right now, but
I know. Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Let's let kissing snakes be. Okay, Jeremy, take it easy here.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, so Matt's like, you know, he's watching me. I walk over to him and I'm talking to him, and he goes, "You're gonna learn. You're gonna learn about letting everybody hold those snakes." He goes, "You'll know what I'm talking about." And it's probably like 6-8 months later, or a couple shows later, or whatever. I was like, "Yeah, this ain't happening."
COVID hit, and it was like, okay,
no, you know what?
Nobody can hold it.
Well, that was a good that was a good break hitter, I guess. But the thing that really irritated me and stopped me from doing that was one family came over. They had like 5 kids, and every single kid wanted to hold a different snake at the same time. Yeah. And they would hold it for a second. Oh, give it to her sister. Can I hold that one now? And then it would just get, it was like, oh my God, I'm trying not to be mean because they're little kids and all that. But they would hold it just to hold it and pass it off real quick. And that's when I was like, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. And then, you know, later on, you started hearing all this stuff a few years ago about diseases and all that, you know, the God, what's the disease in the snakes or whatever?
Nido or whatever.
Yeah. So that's the other thing too. You know, if somebody's going to ask to hold a snake, and you know, you can almost tell if they're interested in it or not, or if they just want to hold it. You got to remember, if they're asking you, and you can tell by looking at that person,
yeah,
they're not a customer. They probably went to 10 or 15 or who knows the others asking to hold the snakes, and I guarantee they've held some of them. So, and then you got to, you know, so you got to worry about all that kind of stuff too.
Right.
And that's stuff that I kind of, you know, learned myself and talked to others and so on and so forth. So.
And now it's like, okay, once in a while we'll pull one out for kids or something to see, you know, depending on how busy the table is at the moment.
Yeah, that's the real problem too, is you're trying to do business.
Yeah.
A buyer's not going to try and break through 7 kids. There's 40 other ball python vendors right there.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I meant to say thank you earlier. Petzotics, that's Diego. He gave I think they're super chats or stickers. I'm not sure what they're called. I suck at some of these things, but thank you very, very much for the contribution, Diego. And that goes to feed the snakes. Every bit helps for sure. That's $3.45. I don't have to work outside of putting on the show for, so that's pretty cool. I appreciate it. We got you know what? While we're here, while we have a little break, I usually do it right at 9, but it's 8:52. We'll do it now. I got to say thanks to REDLINE Shipping for the sponsorship. And if you haven't used REDLINE Shipping, or if you have and you haven't used the promo code, use the promo code PROPER5 to get $5 off your next shipping label. And they'll know that I sent you. And they give me a little love for that as well. So I appreciate it. And I did business with them before any sponsorship. I really enjoy their customer interface. It's not clunky like some of the others, and their customer service is fantastic. When really, like, when the challenge comes and you need service from a shipper, they're there. And I can speak to that firsthand as well. The other company, if you feed frozen thawed, is Cold Blooded Cafe. I'm a huge fan of them, and they have a nice promo for you. Proper 10 will get you 10% off of your order. If you're like me, you're ordering several $100 at a time, so that could be really valuable opportunity for you. Check out Cold Blooded Cafe. I'm proud to be aligned with both those companies. Last but not least, you see the Chipper logo up there. That's from Chris at BNS Reptilia. He is the Chipper distributor up in Pennsylvania. Be sure to check him out, and I'll be back to having his regular logo up next time. But your Coco needs, the Chipper, if you want to pick up snakes, ball pythons, colubrids, blood pythons, boas, geographical selections of boas as well. I don't even really know what that means. I'm not a boa guy, but I know that he is, and he's a first-rate dude. I've been doing business with Chris for well over a year now. I'm really proud to say, of all the guys I've done, sponsors I've done business with, Chris is the longest running. So thanks very much to those folks out there. Jeremy, what are you doing this weekend, man? You got plans?
Nah, I'm just gonna hang out at the house, I think. maybe jump in the pool. Nah, we're actually leaving. We're doing the Tinley Park. I was able to get a table. I've never vended any shows outside of Florida. I ended up going to Tinley in October, right?
Yeah, October.
Yeah, so we went and kind of hung out with Steve. You know, we flew up with his wife, and he drove all the way up there. And I was talking to him. I was like, man, what's involved with getting a table? He goes, well, there's a waiting list, but and I was like, I don't think I'm ready for this. I don't think I have that kind of product yet for a show like this. And he's like, well, there's some really nice stuff out here, but look around. There's some lower end stuff too, or whatever. Not saying that he's saying I had lower end stuff, but
he pushed you to...
Yeah, he kind of pushed me. He goes, get your name on the list, and then, whatever. So we did. We put our name on the list, and as they're asking us what animals that we plan on having, we're like, well, we have rhino iguanas and ball pythons and geckos and pectinatas. We got some Aki monitor eggs in the incubator now, and
Euros in the future.
Yeah, so because of all the variety of stuff, he's like, man, you guys are good. So he said he put us at the top or whatever. I don't know what that means. He said to give him a call in a few months. So I called him like a month and a half later, and he's like, I was going to call you, but I did have 2 tables available, or I did have a table available, or he says, I do have a table available, but I didn't call you because you requested 2. I'm like, no, I'll take 1.
Right.
You got 1, I'll take it,
I'll do what I got to do. Yeah.
So yeah, he was able, that's how we got that, because we have a variety of stuff. He told me if we had just like crested gecko, or he didn't say crested, he said if we only had geckos or only ball pythons, then we'd probably be waiting around for 3 years or so.
Right.
So so we're excited to do that. We're actually I'm going to ride up there with Steve, and I'm going to meet him at his place at like 1:30 in the morning. We're leaving at 2, probably 1 in the morning.
Wow.
So yeah, it's going to be 2 on Thursday. So Wednesday night, well, it's Thursday morning. It's like 1 in the morning. So, and we're just going straight through.
And me and Laura are flying.
Oh, nice. What's that going to take you? 18 hours? What's the drive?
I think it's 17 and change. So let's say ballpark 18. And yeah, so it's me, him, and Jeremy Smith that are riding up there together. I guess Jeremy Smith is with Fireball. I guess he's picking up some displays or something, so he needs, a way to bring them back or whatever. So,
gotcha. Hey, I got to take 1 second here. Shannon Counterman, does the chipper have a website? I'm in PA and would love to buy a local. Shannon, 1, 2, 3, 4 comments above you is B&S Reptilia. Chris, type in how Shannon can get a hold of you. You've been really good to me. I want to make sure that you get some business out of this if possible. So sorry to interrupt, but got to take care of the advertisers for
you. Got to do what you got to do,
Absolutely.
man.
That's right, man. Yeah, Dale said he's on the wait list because he does ball pythons. So you vend at Daytona, but you didn't feel like you were ready for Tinley. What do you see as the difference between those two? Like, I've never been to Tinley, so I've been to Daytona, but like, tell me the difference of what you think that you saw on those.
Well, I don't know. I guess it's because I've actually been to Daytona a few times before, and the crowd at Tinley is this much more crazier. And I've always heard that was the show, even though they say Daytona. So to be honest with you, I don't even know what the answer is for that.
Yeah.
Well, I think you probably don't.
She says I underestimate my collection, my stuff that I have.
He does. He does.
I'm the kind of guy that I do kitchen cabinets for a living. And I'm the kind of guy that even though when I'm finished a job, I always feel like there's more that, that I'm not always 100% happy with.
You're a perfectionist.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even though it's like 10 times over the level of what they're looking for and what's good and all that. Like when I was building furniture and stuff, there's always something I always look back and feel like there's something always can be better. And I guess maybe that goes into, the stuff that I have. I always feel like I could do better or something, which is probably a good thing, but I don't know.
I was smiling because that's like, in a nutshell, if someone were to ask me what makes me feel like I click with you, that would be why. Like, you're a humble, hardworking dude. I met you at a job site one time. But matter of fact, because we were both working and both of us were like, well, that's where it's going to have to be if we're going to make this work. And matter of fact, maybe that's where I dropped off the guitar for you. I'm not sure. But anyway, all right, pick up.
Was it at the?
It might have been the exchange at the time because it wasn't at the house. Or no, you.
No, it was at the house.
You
brought it
to
the house.
I was picking up some animals from you, but
yeah.
I think you dropped the guitar off first, and then you didn't have room for the animals later. You ended up.
Yeah, that's probably something like that. But yeah, I was coming back because I was at like 7:38 in the morning or something too. It was early that day, and I was coming back from a gig in Punta Gorda, and you called me that afternoon, and you're like, "Hey, how are the animals?" I was like, "Still in my car, man. I'm driving home." And you were like, "You're still not home yet?" Yeah, and you were like, "Man, you work like I do." I was like, "I know, man. It's a job. It's what we do, you know." So, but it's things like that that have always that humble, hardworking, but also the care and the product that you put out is always been something that I've admired. And then to see the facility and you two together, like it's like you're one step away from a zoo there. It's fantastic. And
I'm going to start charging admission.
I know you need to, man. Hopefully I'm grandfathered in, but honestly, I'd pay like it's except for the rats. I'm not going to the rat exhibit again.
Yeah.
I won't put you through that.
So tell us, all right, so what do you bring it? Like, give us some stats. What are you bringing to Tinley? Not like the specific animals, but like the number of animals. What are you doing to prepare for it? How do you, go ahead.
It's hard because with only one table, we're very limited to what we bring. So
yeah, we're bringing, I'd say probably, we're bringing all the rhino iguanas, which I think there's like 15 left, 15 or 20 maybe.
Which is kind of funny because we think of these huge animals, but these are little like little acrobats in their cage flipping around in there.
That's the pectinatas.
Oh, sorry, that's right.
The pectinatas are the little ninjas, man. When you throw crickets in there, man, they'll kick off the wall, do a backflip, grab the cricket, go into the other wall, stand on somebody else's head, and do like flips, and they're crazy. We're sold out of those.
Oh, cool. I'm glad they sold, man.
Yeah, those went quick. I actually I think I have a pair left. We still have them because some of the places, like some people bought 4 in pairs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We sent those out already. Yeah, okay, so the weather is what's stopping us from sending those.
Gotcha. Were you able to sex them that small? Do you have those skill too?
I know how to sex them, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right.
I don't guarantee the sexes on them, and I say that in the ads and all that. But I'm pretty confident that's what it is. And the only reason why is because Ty Park, he owns Iguana Land.
Right.
He does the same. He's never, I don't think he's been wrong. If he has, it's not often. He's the one that kind of showed me, and I watched a couple of his videos and stuff like that. But he doesn't guarantee them either. Just kind of like to cover them.
Right.
But at the shows, the males, when you probe a male, it goes in the size of the animals I have. The probe goes in about 1/4 inch.
Yeah.
Now the probes I use, I bought them from you. You sold them to me anyway.
That was at Dale's table, though. I was on assignment learning then.
Yeah, so I bought those for the lizard. I actually had another set, but I wanted 2 sets.
Okay.
So the very small, so those probes have little balls on the ends of them. So when you do a female at the size of the lizards that I have, it's basically just the ball part, the tip of the ball that goes in, and that's how you determine the males and the females. So it shows when I'm sexing them. There's times I'll sex a lizard, and then I'm not 100%, and they'll be looking for like a male or something. I'm like, I think it's a male, but I don't want to. Let's grab another one. Then the next one, it'll be. I don't know if it's just if they're. I think it's just the way I do it or something. I don't know.
Right. Or if they're
I don't know if some of them they go in further. Some of them are like in between, and those are the ones I'm not 100% sure on. So those are the ones I'll, wait till they're left or whatever. And if somebody doesn't care if male or female, that's what I'll get.
So you're down to one table. Dale brought up a good point. So normally you have now 4 tables at your shows. So what are you choosing to bring with you?
Well, this one I just trying to pick the priciest stuff and I'm only bringing, what did you say, 50?
And we have about
50 that we're bringing with us
between for sale 40 to 50.
Yeah, I'm bringing a few up there that I'm going to see if I can get somebody to help me ID. Like I did some I have a double head monsoon lavender albino, so anything I breed to it, they're going to be 50%, but the monsoon you can kind of see them sometimes. So I put it to a desert ghost, so I ended up with a 1.9 females. And there's Enchi involved too. And the Enchi, I'm kind of it's not like right there showing which ones are monsoons or not. I think the Enchi het monsoons, it's a little trickier.
I gotcha.
I'm only want to keep maybe 3 or 4 girls out of that 9. So I'm going to have a couple people look at it and tell me what they think and pick out the ones I'm going to keep for myself.
Yeah.
And have, other people, have several different eyes on it. And, whichever ones they say they think is the het monsoon, then I'll price them accordingly. So, but anyways, the answer, I know that was probably not even part of the question. But as far as
we're just hanging out here, man. It's cool. I'm serious. That's cool.
As far as the ball pythons, there's probably going to be like 50-ish that we're bringing. She's bringing 9 geckos.
8 or 9 crusties I'm bringing. Last year was my first year, so I didn't have like 50 babies or anything like that. I started off a little bit slower.
Yeah.
And I've sold quite a few, so I'm kind of getting limited to what I can sell, and some are still too small to sell, so I'm only going to be about 9 for those.
Yeah, so this show, it'll be basically 3 species on the one table. I got to do different species. That's how the table.
That's how you got the table. So you'll do rhino iguanas, cresties, and ball pythons.
Yeah.
And talk about a couple of those. It was funny. I know you won't say it, but I'll say it nicely. You had made a post and somebody had an interesting hot take on why you may or may not want to go to Tinley. But what are some of the? I know you said you were bringing those double hets to have a look at, but you got like a world's first, and you got some puzzle stuff you're bringing too, right?
Yeah, I got a couple visual puzzles. I got
the puzzle genetics,
I got some female het puzzles. I got a few het or 50% het monsoons that you can tell they're going to prove out to be het monsoons, but because they're the pairing and the breeding, I can't sell them as 100%.
Right.
I sell them as 50, but I can price them per what they look like, accordingly. Yeah. So, I got some of those. I got males and females of those. I got some pieds. I got like a female banana Enchi pied, and I don't know, a few other things mixed in there. I got some Cypress stuff. I got some Kryptons.
DG.
Got some DG stuff. So I got a couple, like a mixture of different things here and there.
Gotcha. This is going a little right turn real fast. Did you see last week's episode with Abe? I didn't know he bought one of those Cypress honeys from you, man. Like,
yeah.
I was telling him I had done videos on those at your shows, seeing those. And then I saw that snake posted on his Instagram, and I was like, man, that looks like one of those Cypress honey DGs. And I scroll down, and sure enough, not only is it's the Cypress honey DG and the het clown. I was like, I've done a video on that snake that you own, Abe. This is crazy,
Those snakes.
And Abe cut it.
Yeah. He told the story. I watched it.
Right.
I was on there and watched the whole show.
I thought so, but I couldn't remember for sure. But it was just such a cool, like.
He told you the story, how that all went down, how he just happened to look on the Morph Market map and all that stuff,
Yeah.
And we've had a couple short interactions on the Discord. It was Will's with
RCR.
Yeah, and that's about it. I don't think we even talked on the phone before. And then all of a sudden he messaged me. I'm like, yeah, man, come on down. We'll check it out. I've seen him on different videos, so I felt comfortable having him over.
Right. Yeah, and he's a good dude, but he's recognizable.
Yeah, he's a good friend.
Yeah, he's a real good friend. We talk to him all the time.
That's cool. I'm looking forward to. he'll be at Daytona, I think he said. I'm looking forward to meeting him and hanging out. That'll be. I've told a couple people that I've sold. There was a guy I was vending next to in Lakeland. And he said, well, I don't do Morph Market because I don't want to ship animals and that kind of thing. I'm just not comfortable with it. And I said, well, first, you should. But second, I said, I have people that find me on the Morph Market map that don't want to buy animals shipped to them and only want to buy from a local breeder that they could pick up in person. Mm-hmm. And the guy kind of perked up. He was like, really? I was like, yeah, I get sales that way, especially in the wintertime too, when people want an animal like
right now. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. So it's that store map market thing is really helpful. What do you have to do? And you could just play dumb if you don't want to answer. Do you have to do anything to bring the animals into Illinois from a state line? I know some states have it. Do you not run into that?
No, I talked to Steve. He said, I even like, you know how you done shows here. You have to have an inventory. You have to have your class 3, or is it class C?
Class 3.
Class 3. There you don't. The only thing you do need to have when you're, and I don't know if it's every state, but you got to have what do they call that? A veterinarian.
Look over your animals.
Yeah, but that's something, and they sign off on it. Yeah. So, but
you do that when you get there, or you got to do it beforehand.
Actually, they're going to have a vet there doing it. You got to pay $50. I'm not sure if it's per species or per table. I think Steve said
it's per table.
Yeah, I had a couple people say they think it's per table, but they just kind of look over your animals, make sure they're not, diseased, or I don't know, just make sure they're not sick or mites or anything like that.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. And a lot of places are doing that now. Sometimes you got to do it before you go to the shows.
Per table.
Oh, is it per table? Okay, cool. Are they? Hey, Dale, answer this if you can too. Are they doing that now at Daytona, or is that just the out-of-state shows?
I heard it, and I could be wrong. Dale will know, but I heard at Daytona it was for people coming in from out of state.
Oh, maybe that's what it is. That would
make sense because we have class 3 license.
Yeah, so. I've never had to do that in any of the shows in Florida. I mean, I had to provide the class 3 and then the inventory list, which
right.
Yeah, Dale said not for Florida people.
Okay. All right.
Oh yeah. Okay. There we go.
I learn all the time, man. Dale just learned me something right there.
Learned me.
He just learned me something.
Learned me.
And North Carolina viewers, Dale is going to be at the Raleigh Repticon this weekend. So go check out Dale. What are you going to have there, Dale? 6-8 tables, and primo stuff, man. No, I'm not joking. I think it's 6 or 8 tables that he has, man.
Yeah.
So go see Constricted Reptiles at the Raleigh show if you're in North Carolina. And I think Warfels and BNS Reptilia, Chris, I think they're Gettysburg. Is your Gettysburg show this weekend too? It's amazing how many are out there. I saw them talking about it. Anyhow, good luck at those, but go check those guys out as well. What about, so how long are you going to be gone for? You're going to leave Thursday at 1 a.m. So, I mean, basically
driving all the way through nonstop. The show starts at Friday. I think they said you could start setting up at noonish on Friday.
But I think they normally let people in earlier.
Or is it Thursday?
Because I know when we were with Steve before, I thought we got in earlier. I could be wrong.
Yeah, the timing for setting up. They say noon, but they all, like any Repticons, if they tell you you're not allowed in here to start setting up on Friday till like 2 o'clock, usually they let you in a little bit earlier.
Yeah. Man, Brandon's going to be vending at the Gettysburg show as well. All of those guys I would buy animals from if I were rich. And even if I'm poor, I probably will buy one from them one of these days anyway. So you're going up and you'll leave Thursday at 1 a.m. You get there Friday, and then you're going to drive home Sunday night, or you're going to leave?
As soon as the show's over, we're packing up and then hitting the road.
So you're going to vend all day Sunday, and then you're just going to trade off deadheading home.
Yep. Do the old, what do they call them, the flights overnight, the red eye?
Red eyes, yeah. Eastbound and down, man. You drop the hammer and grind the gears, right? You got to make it.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're going to need, that's a long, man. I drove from Minneapolis to North Carolina in one shot one day I bought a Subaru. I flew up. I told the guy, I said, hey, I'll be there in like 30 days. I'll send you the money. He's like, no, this thing needs to be out of my driveway by Monday if you want it. I was like, all right, it's Saturday. I'll see you tomorrow. And it was my father-in-law. I flew there and gave him the money, and I drove it back. But man, that's long. I hope the weather's all right too. We got kind of this cold spell falling over the country too.
Yeah, there's long drives. It's a lot of Monster Energies and empty Gatorade bottles.
Yeah. Better than how we used to do it on those long shifts in the restaurants, right? So then, so that's actually not, I was going to ask what you do to prep the animals at home, but I mean, a 3-day or 4-day stretch is no problem at home, right?
Well, our daughter still lives at home, so
Yeah.
she's an adult, so she takes care of the animals for us while we're gone.
Yeah, we give her a little list, and then we pay her. You know, when we come back, give her some extra spending money or whatever.
Right.
List of what needs what, and
she kind of knows already.
Top off the rodent waters and the foods and all that stuff. The snakes are pretty much good, for that time.
Yeah, the snakes are pretty easy. I've got a trip. I'm going to be gone 2 weeks this summer, and like one of the big. So we've got 2 dogs, and one of them is blind, and I'm not talking like bad eyesight. I'm talking like no eyes. Eyes are gone on this stuff. The eyes have been surgically removed, and most of his teeth are gone too. So this dude needs a little extra care. He's old, man. He's an old rat terrier rescue, man. He's
TLC.
Yeah, he's 11, 12 years old, and just needs a good place to spend his days, which is what we're giving him. So, but we got to sort that out, and then I got 100 snakes, and in June I'm gonna have some. I might need somebody that has the skills to pull some eggs for me too. Is the other thing I'm worried about. So I got to work out some deals. I got a local buddy that doesn't know it, but he's going to get a phone call and a generous offer to.
How long are you going to be gone for? I mean, like, how long will the eggs sit in there if nobody pulls them?
Oh, well, I'll be gone 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say a day or two or something like that. I don't think it'd be. I've had them in there over a weekend one time.
I actually think I'll be okay on the moms laying the eggs. It's looking like I'm going to be clear on that because I've only got the one that's ovulated so far, and it's in June. So I think any that ovulate, as long as they don't ovulate like tomorrow, I think I'll be okay on them laying. Mm-hmm. But that one that has ovulated, those eggs might hatch while we're gone. But I think they'll be okay in the egg box for 4 or 5 days. If somebody drops in every 4 days.
Do you use egg crates when you incubate your eggs?
Yeah.
Not an egg crate, but light diffuser.
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yes,
I
would probably pull that out if you think they're going to hatch.
You think it'll tear their belly?
No, I've heard horror stories where if they're in there, they'll get their head stuck in the little squares and all that stuff.
Oh wow, okay.
I think Billy actually mentioned it a few times on his. That he's had them where they get stuck and they end up dying and stuff.
Well, you think I just add an extra layer of vermiculite then that with not so damp?
If they're so close to, if they're like ready to hatch, and I would probably just put a small layer.
Incubate them as normal. Then right before I leave, just pull the.
Yeah, exactly.
Got it. Okay, that's cool. Yeah.
I used the light diffusers too. There's one time I didn't use it. I mean, everything was fine. It's
just what you know.
It's just what I know. It's what I've been taught, and it's like a fail-safe method to use the light diffuser. I think, anyways.
Smart.
Unless you have them hatch, and they're sitting in there, because when mine are hatching, I'm like a little kid, man. Like
that's how I am.
Like when they hatch, I'll take it and I'll put it in a different tub with a paper towel that's damp. And I'll separate it, and put that back in the incubator. And every half hour, probably every couple hours realistically, but I'm always looking,
I have to drag him out.
Yeah.
I'm that way too. Like, it's still like magic to me. I'm like, oh, here it comes. We did it again. So I'm excited. Part of my personal professional evolution is that, I just want to make sure I have time with my family together when we're all together in the house together, and leaving active sort of restaurant life was I haven't taken a family summer vacation ever with my son. I mean, it's been 10 years since Kelly and I went, and maybe even our honeymoon since I went on a summer vacation. So it's been like last year was getting situated, making sure that, the move went well and the finances are good. And we laid the groundwork for, our various businesses. And now it was like, all right, we're working to June 15th and we're out. Even my clients at my consulting, I'm like, no, he asked me to stay on. I was like, I'll come back after, but I'm out the door. He's like, well, we still are going to be doing stuff. I'm like, I've been telling you this for 7 months, man. I'm out the door. That's it. That's
phone's off the hook.
Yeah, I work for me, man. That's the beauty of this, and I'm telling you right now, so
put down.
it's great. Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. And no, I think I just got to work out some schedules. I've got two primo folks that I would trust here that are great around, and that have been around my animals and are great around them, and I trust them. And now that I got cameras everywhere. Somebody would be stupid to mess around in here now,
Right. It's nice to have someone like that.
We've got cameras too. So we just upgraded our whole system. So
yeah. Now the cameras talk to you when you get close to them.
Yeah, I've got that too, man. I could talk to the person through my camera. Hey, you want to hear some special language, man? That would be great, right? Find somebody in here on the camera.
It's nice to know, because if we're even at work, it'll say someone's lingering on the side yard or something, and you can look and see who's there.
That's right. You've got that yard that's right on the street. Yeah, I mean, you'd never know it from the street, but yeah, that's true. Your neighborhood's a little different than mine is as far as that. Well, plus you have animals out, in that area too.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and booby traps. So.
yeah, I can believe it, man. And I mean, not seriously, I could believe that that as well.
Yeah. Well, what's the temp tonight?
50.
Okay.
What's that?
She's telling me I gotta make sure all the tortoises and the rhinos are inside their hides. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything
okay. So yes, you got and those in the audience, if y'all have topics, let me know. But I got a couple more topics as well. But all right, so it's Tuesday night right now. Obviously, tomorrow morning is going to be Wednesday. And then
it's going to be Thursday.
I know. Well, and that's what I'm getting to. Thursday at 1 a.m. is only like 28 hours away. Are you guys working tomorrow, like your day jobs, or are you taking off?
No, I took off tomorrow.
On spring break.
Yeah, she's on spring break. I took tomorrow off and Monday. So
okay, so you took off those days. All right, so that makes it a little easier. But yeah, what I was getting to is like, really, it's a long tomorrow, but it's tomorrow that you're going to hit the road.
Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
I got pretty much everything ready to go. I just got to put the animals in their little deli cup things.
Yeah.
So I have several different like show display stuff. I have the LP racks, which you've seen those. They're the ones that everybody thinks the glass is missing and all that.
Right.
I have a pain in the butt to put together and take time. I'm not bringing those not to Tinley. I'm bringing, and then
well, we're getting some new next
level.
So
I got the next level. You've seen
the next level's coming yet?
Okay, so I just ordered all new acrylics. Like Mark's Meek. No, it wasn't Mark's. I think Mark's Meeks might have white ones too. I can't remember.
I don't know.
Emilio has the white acrylics though, and I really like the way they look. So I ordered all new acrylics for my 4 next level display cases.
Wow. Okay.
So I'm bringing 2 next level, the boxes, the shell. I'm not bringing the acrylics.
Okay.
Okay. So I'm bringing those 2, and then I ordered. It turns out that the acrylics for the next level are the identical size as the ARS acrylics. I didn't know that. And I checked it out. Actually, it was Jeremy.
Snakes and Memories.
Snakes.
Jeremy and Holly, Snakes for Memories.
So they had an ARS, so I took one of mine and I kind of held it next to theirs with their permission, obviously.
Yeah.
And they're like identical size. So I bought 2 cases, just a shell of ARS, and I'll get 2 more too, because now I have 4 extra acrylic sets, and I can just put those in the ARS cages, and then she'll use those for the geckos, because she always brings the geckos back to the hotel or something like that, because you got to keep them moist and all that.
It depends on the weather, the temperature in the building. Like here in Tampa, when they shut that air off, it gets super hot in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I usually like to bring them back.
Gotcha. And then
I know I threw you off on big time.
Yeah.
Oh, you asked me a question. I just threw that out there.
He's good for that.
And then what are you guys taking up there as far as you taking Steve's transport? What's that thing?
Yeah, I'm gonna meet him at his place. I'm also gonna have some Da Vinci Boa supplement. I'm gonna have a limited amount of that with me. I'm actually meeting Richard Albano, which is with Da Vinci Boa.
Yeah.
And he's giving me some of that stuff to take up there to see if I can move some of that. So if anybody wants any of that Da Vinci Boa supplement, what?
John left you a special message. Don't forget to bring his snakes back.
Yeah, well, he needs to go up there himself and get it. Just kidding. Yeah, I got a few people wanting me to bring snakes back for him.
Sounds.
I'm not going to forget.
Sounds like a couple dollar bills could help you remember a little bit better, right?
Exactly. I might give him the wrong snakes unless he gives me some.
We need some spending money.
I remember a lot better with Uncle Benjamin looking over my shoulder. You know, he helps me remember real well.
Right. Nah, he's a good friend. He's the guy that comes out and helps us at the shows and all that.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah,
he's a very, very good dude.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I'm going to let you all get ready for your big weekend. It's a joy and a pleasure to work with you and to have you hang out. And I mean that. I appreciate your support, your friendship, and it truly brightens my day. I was in a horrible mood earlier. Like, it's just been a rough kind of a patch of just how people treat each other and all that. And you guys are a joy. So I really appreciate that. Also in the audience, we were up at 70. 70 is amazing. Like, I forget all the things that I had to be thankful for when we get in bad moods, you know, like 70 people were checking this out tonight. And I'm really always thankful and humbled by that. And then so much support and people, I can't even get to everybody. Like, I would just be like, it'd be a whole show just shouting names out, you know, but I see tons of people that support me and it's a really awesome feeling. And it does feel like community that way. But as I've said many times, you were one of the very first to make me feel that way and kind of give me the support to keep going. So I really, really appreciate it. I hope you just crush it at Tinley, man. I hope you have a great time. And I know everybody says it, but man, be safe. That's a long drive with I know some changes came along today in the plans, maybe the logistics. So be careful on that drive.
Probably 2 or 3 times already, and he hasn't even left.
Somebody just somebody just texted me. Okay, man. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm just grumpy. Yeah, that's Steven. Yeah, I'm just grumpy. I am very good, but you know, all things in perspective. It's just a frustrating time sometimes, the politics and the BS that people put you through. So let me see here. Let me see if I can do a very important quick rundown. So Jeremy and so Bauds Exotic Reptiles, Steve's Morphs, and Fireball,
yeah.
Fireball.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll be up at Tinley. Go check them out. I think Kittinger, another friend of the show, I think he'll be up there. Dale's going to be over at Repticon in Raleigh this weekend. And then at the Gettysburg show, Brandon Nixon's Reptiles, Jeremy Warfels, and Chris from BNS Reptilia. I'm sure there's another show somewhere in the world with good friends there too. But all of those people legitimately, like, I would invite in my home, around my family, anytime with no questions. They've been that cool. So go check them out. I know they take that good care of their animals as well. Thanks to Redline, thanks to Cold Blooded Cafe. And then just because I am selfish and it's my show, let's check out the live feed of the behind the scenes of what you could check out right now if you haven't on YouTube, the 24/7 live cam. That's it. That's on the other YouTube channel right now. You can see what I'm doing 24/7 in my facility. If you're wondering why you can't see my hand wave around, wait for it. There's a little lag. There it is. Now my hand is waving around because that's how I talk. That will be the Patreon feed once I get all the kinks worked out. It's kind of the beta test right now. It's free. The link is down below, and all the Patreon tiers are live as well. So thank you, everybody. Next week we have Chakra Scales on. Ginny, Jeremy, you got the last word. It's yours. That's how I'm gonna make myself shut up. You get the last word, and then I'm ending the show.
Thank you for having us on. We appreciate it.
Yes, I thank everybody that came out to see us, and I appreciate all of you, and thanks for all your support and love, and same to you, Adam. And come see us at Tinley if anybody's out in that area. We're going to be at table 304. They actually moved our table. And a good way to see where some of your favorite vendors are, if you go on Morph Market, and what is it that you go to?
The three lines.
Yeah, the
menu, like the little menu section.
Yeah, but you go to
events.
Events, okay. And then you can actually type in the person's name or the business and then find out what table they're at. So
you got to scroll down to Tinley. You got to scroll down to your event. There you have a whole bunch of
different shows.
There.
So
we had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
And also we are going to also have 2 pairs of double het sunset clowns available at that show too. So if anybody's looking for any of those, stop by 304. You guys have a good night.
Go crush it, guys. Thank you as always. Stick around for just a minute.
Okay.